Looking for the single hardest country to get a work visa? Here's the blunt truth. A few places are so tightly controlled that, for a normal job seeker, the door is effectively bolted shut. First, define hardest. It's not just lots of forms. It's 1. Almost no legal pathway, 2. Near impossible to find a qualifying sponsor, and 3. Approvals that depend on state invitation or politics, rather than your merit. By that yardstick, the top contenders are North Korea and Turkmenistan. Both tightly control foreign presence, paid private sector jobs for outsiders are virtually non-existent. Unless you're part of a government mission, a sanctioned aid project, or a state-to-state arrangement, employment visas are basically off the table. Close behind is Bhutan for most nationalities. Bhutan prioritizes protecting its labor market and culture. Work permits for foreigners outside specific bilateral or development projects are rare, tightly screened, and usually tied to a particular employer under strict oversight. You can't simply arrive, shop your CV, and convert to a work visa. It has to be justified, prearranged, and approved. There's also a category of countries where instability or sanctions, not just law, make work visas practically unobtainable for typical applicants. Think of places like Eritrea, Libya, Syria, or Afghanistan. There may be limited exceptions for humanitarian or diplomatic roles, but a regular private job with a standard permit is extraordinarily unlikely. What about big economies people ask about all the time? Russia and China are challenging, but for different reasons. In China, you generally need a firm job offer first, plus notarized degrees, background checks, medicals, and a Z visa that converts to a residence permit after arrival. It's a paper-heavy, employer-driven process, yet very feasible when a legitimate company sponsors you. Russia likewise relies on employer sponsorship. The highly qualified specialist track speeds things up, but only for roles meeting strict salary and expertise thresholds. Without a committed employer, both markets feel like brick walls. With the right sponsor, they're demanding but doable. Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and others, are strict in another way. Almost everything hinges on a local sponsor under tightly regulated systems. You cannot legally freelance or job hunt indefinitely on a tourist status and convert. However, if a company wants you, processing can be routine. The barrier is obtaining that offer in the first place. For context, some popular destinations aren't the hardest, but are competitive or unpredictable. The U.S. H-1B has a lottery that injects luck into the process, even for qualified candidates. European Union pathways, like the EU Blue Card, can be straightforward if you meet salary and education thresholds and have an offer, but difficult if you don't. Countries like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand publish clear skill lists and point systems, demanding, yes, but transparent. Bottom line, if you mean virtually impossible for a normal applicant, North Korea and Turkmenistan sit at the extreme end, with Bhutan for most foreigners and several conflict-affected states close behind. Among major economies, Russia and China are not the hardest outright. They're just heavily sponsor-dependent and paperwork-intensive. Your best strategy anywhere is to secure a bona fide job offer first, verify the exact visa class you qualify for, and check whether your occupation appears on a shortage or high-skill track. That's the difference between a dead end and a tough but passable path.